Okay. So we're going to just ask you a few questions. I'm going to hand you the microphone. Oh, you got your microphone. You're wired up. So what I'd like to do is just give this audience, this YPO group, a little bit of backstory about Jacob Collier. So might as well start with your early life. Born in London, August 2nd, 1994. So you're a Leo.
That is correct. Oh yes, I'm a Leo. Yes.
So raise your hand if you're a Leo in this group. I think this group is heavy with Leos. That's right, including the right side there. Can you just tell us something about growing up in London and learning music, playing, singing, your family, and a little bit of backstory there?
Yeah. So every single member of my family is a musician. So I learned it almost like a second language, I suppose. It was an emotional way of expressing things that words sometimes can't express. The sort of harmony and things. And it was as though somebody opened the doors for me to walk and explore this, but without any expectation of me to do things that I had to do, So there was never, you've got to do practice, you've got to learn this tune, you've got to practice your scales and all this kind of thing. It was more, this is music as a universe, now go walk into it for yourself.
So what about early influences? Were you listening to CDs of various artists that you went on to rearrange and reimagine some of their music?
I mean, Stevie Wonder was, and remains probably the king of all music for me. Yeah. And Michael Jackson was another big one for me. Earth, Wind and Fire, Bobby McFerrin you mentioned earlier on. Take Six, Pat Metheny you mentioned earlier on as well. I think we share some influences actually. But yeah, it was a very varied palette. And I was very excited to be, I was such a thirsty learner. And I guess I maintained that as a premise, but I was so thirsty for everything new I could possibly glean from anything I experienced.
Can you share anything about the influence of rap and hip hop music? You were born at ground zero, essentially, of the rise of rap and hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess '94 was the very beginning. But I've listened to a lot of music, like funky music, that had a very straight rhythmic grid. Things were straight and quantized and patterned. And then hip hop came along. People like Jay Dilla, for example, whose philosophy of groove was to be almost sloppy about things. So there'd be grooves that were structured around a lack of quantization, which is to say a lack of rounding to the nearest beat. Things were much more human, less balanced, but had a sort of innate balance of their own. I think this is a nice idea within hip hop and within tuning systems and within life in general. Yeah.
That's it. Talk us through, first of all, can I hear a round of applause if you watched a Jacob Collier video on YouTube? Anyone? All right. So can you walk us through the process of creating one of those amazing videos?
Yes, so step one is to choose a song, and this might be a song that I've composed, or it might be a song that I'd like to arrange. And once I have my rock, it's like crafting away at this thing and then building other things all around it. So you might take a melody, one might take a melody and find this melody within an exciting and unusual context, something taken away from what originally surrounded this melody is now something totally new. So a reharmonization, a recontextualization of groove and things like this. It's like walking into an empty room with one object and deciding how to furnish this one object, and it's kind of like an indescribable joy, because everything is possible. This is the thing about 2016, is that anything is possible. The internet gives every human being a free ticket to do whatever one wants to do on one's own terms, with one's own resources, in one's own time. And it's like the generation of creative people, as opposed to the people who own large conglomerates of companies and things. I think people can, people with imaginations can take things and fly with them and explore things, and that can lead anywhere.
So another YouTube phenom has been Snarky Puppy, which is how I got to know you originally. And you did a piece for them in February of last year called Don't You Know, which I believe is on the set list for this evening. Anything about the Snarky Puppy collaboration and the Don't You Know piece and the odd meters that are included? In there?
So Snarky Puppy, for those of you who don't know them, are an extremely funky, dangerously funky group of human beings. They each individually are phenomenal musicians in their own right, and they come together to form this. It's like a family, right? It's like a family, and I guess that this was an album of theirs where they wanted to include a bunch of friends and guests from all over the world. So we had Susanna Backer from Peru? Yes. I think Peru, and David Crosby, people like this, and then also people from the United Kingdom, which is where I'm from, and a variety of other places. And it was like a big mixing pot, and everybody connected, and everybody made music and had conversations, and it was this massive connection, a sort of a merging of worlds, which is very inspiring.
That's great.
hopefully.
So last thing before, we'll do a little fun thing before the performance, but I wanted to make an announcement. Jacob is in the middle of the world tour for In My Room, which I'm sporting his t-shirt. He is on the East Coast now. He's doing another gig in Philly tomorrow night, and he's at the DC Theater, he's at the Howard Theater in DC on Monday night, and I have a bunch of front row tickets, so anybody wants to see a follow-up, come see me after that. And just before the performance here, I'm just gonna do a word association game. We're gonna name some artists, and you just say 1 or 2, 3 words that come to mind as soon as I say it.
Okay, sweet.
I kind of have them sort of in chronological order here, so let's start Elvis.
Presley, dancing,
The Beatles.
White Revolver,
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, moon, dark and shade and light and expanse color.
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, I guess again, black and white, the sky, bombs dropping.
U2.
U2, oh,
U2.
Joshua Tree.
Dave Matthews.
Dave Matthews, probably green and blue for some reason.
Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey, high notes and low notes.
Beyonce.
Beyonce, even higher notes potentially, and even lower notes. I think.
Eminem.
Eminem, unusual rhymes and danger and white and black and a kind of revolutionary mind.
Nirvana.
Nirvana, oh, the outcome with the baby that's naked in the scene.
Lady Gaga.
Paparazzi, colours and bubblegum.
Adele.
Adele, Someone Like You, and what's the other one? Make You Feel My Love, which is the song I sometimes play first. Yeah.
And the last one, Susan Boyle.
Susan Boyle. Surprise, delight, success, joy.
Excellent, excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Collier.